Miss Nikki in the house.
So we know what we're good at, but we know we're not good at. We spend all of our time.
My family know I've been married for 10 years.
I had changed my life so much in such a short
I've been doing that for 18 to 19 years.
I'm one of those people who I think, I grew up
serving the majority, as far as I can remember, as a kid.
Hey everyone! Yes, I am Chandra, and
allow themselves to be free. Sometimes I do coaching and other things like that, but
dance was my life. Dance is what I knew. Dance is what I breathed.
I lost a lot of time with my daughter in that first year.
It was an amazing job for actors.
All right, Nina, welcome to the C2C podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. So please tell our audience a little bit about who you are.
Well, I am Nina. I'm from Munich, and I'm an international results coach and speaker. I'm also a yoga instructor, and it's really my mission to help other women to really step into their power, and to design a life they truly love instead of just living it by default and just letting it happen.
Awesome. Now, what inspired you to go into this field? I mean, was that something you always wanted to do, or is it you just kind of fell into it? Like, tell us a little bit what inspired that commitment.
It has really been if I now look back, it started about 10 years ago, when I kind of felt that where I was, like professionally and also privately, there was like I just didn't feel entirely happy. But do you know that feeling when you can't really put your finger on what it actually is? What's missing in your life, right? And so I kind of started exploring, and I changed jobs. I was doing different things in my personal life, and so then really gradually I got closer to where I am now. So meaning, I, for example, got into yoga and into meditation, and I realized how beneficial that is for me and how much it helps me. And then I said, okay, right, I want to be a yoga instructor. And the same happened with coaching. When I was at a bit kind of lost space, I guess, in my life, I was like, okay, I think I need help. I need some support. And I got a coach. And then whilst I was working with him and I saw all the amazing results, I was like, okay, I want to be a coach. And, the last thing that happened is I was thinking, okay, I want to enrich what I do with something, that I can actually touch, that is, maybe a bit less abstract. And so I got into essential oils. And that's really one thing after the other happened that got me into what I'm doing now, all based on what helped me. So
Awesome. So when you were going through these different transitions, and I don't know if you can pinpoint anything in particular, but what would you think was your biggest obstacle, and how did you overcome it?
My biggest obstacle was really related around actually two things. So one thing was really that I felt so stuck in everything that was sort of more determined by society, things like how people think that things should be. And, all these, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you must do that, but no, you really can't do this. So I felt like I was really in that area of where I wasn't really acting out, fully by myself, but more determined by others. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that really sucked. So that was one of the major challenges that I had, because, my life was always so smooth. I went to school, I studied, I had good degrees, and everything was sort of happening for me in a way, until I realized that's not really my path. That's someone else's, or society's path. And the other real obstacle that I was facing was to actually let go and to trust more. I was more sort of that person. I was trying to control things, and I but I only noticed afterwards, right? Years later, on my journey, that I was like, okay, I always try to control the things and I don't give it enough space to actually evolve, and just to trust that things will work out for me, you know. And I really realized that this is what happens once you let go. You just create all that space, you know, and
Absolutely.
then all those beautiful things that you want to have, they are coming to you, and you don't need to go get them, sort of, you know. And if you ask me how I overcame it, for me, one, or actually two things majorly. It's really about diving into my body more, you know, because I really think, I know, in fact, that the body shows us so many things, you know, what goes right or wrong. But we have sort of unlearned to listen, really. And so for me, yoga, and I've always been, you know, physically active. I was always dancing and things, but yoga gave my, you know, movement or my body practice like a different angle and a different depth. And the same applies to meditation, which for me, yoga and meditation goes, you know, very
hand in hand. Absolutely.
Exactly. So that was one thing. And obviously the other thing is really to understand really, what am I actually thinking all day, you know, to really be observant of my thoughts and then the connected feelings. Because once I had that, once I really figured, okay, well, this makes me feel tight in my body, and that's the associated thought to it, you know, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, that doesn't do me good. You know, and then the consciousness is the first step to actually change.
Yes, absolutely. I'm like listening to you and I'm like, wow, we sound so similar. Like I could just totally relate to what you're talking about, because not everybody understands that concept. And it's so sad. And I mean, it takes people like us to teach others, like, listen, you have to listen to your body. You know, there is a disconnect when you are just kind of running the hamster wheel and you're just lost, and you're especially now with the phones and social media. I mean, disconnection is like at a all-time high. And I think that's why so many people are going cuckoo in their cabeza.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I'm really happy you say that, and I could, you know, feel that you are sort of really relating and resonating with it. And it's like, it's really it's like the most important thing, I believe, you know, to have that connection, because body, mind, and soul are interconnected. Full stop. No negotiations, you know. But it's just that we need to understand the concept, like you nicely said. We need to really allow ourselves to go there, because I think it has to do a lot with allowing ourselves to actually go deeper and to be brave, courageous as well, right? Because it's not always easy. We do know that, but it's worth it. We do know that too.
Yes, absolutely. The fight in general is worth it.
Totally.
Just for yourself. Yeah. So during your transitions and from yoga instructor to coach, and it could be at different times, different people, who would you say was your biggest supporter and is your biggest supporter?
You know what? This is actually kind of almost a crazy question, because I'm just realizing that I've done really actually everything myself. I can't really now, you know, point to one specific person, because I was definitely facing, you know, like obstacles on the way, and you know, people rather thinking I was a bit nuts, I think, of, you know, to do all these changes in my life. So with that, I was really a lot intrinsically motivated, like 100%. I mean, when I sort of like first made, you know, a move out of my comfort zone, and I actually went to an acting school for a while. when I had that, I was still together with my boyfriend at the time, and he was definitely a supporter, you know, at that point. He certainly was. But then even, you know, yes, and, you know, a few friends here and there, definitely. But yeah, it's difficult to say. I've just noticed with that question, you know, that I've done a lot myself.
And sometimes that's how it is. You got to take that time to pat yourself on the back, be your own cheerleader, rah, say, keep going, Nina, keep going. So tell me, like, did your coach know that you're coaching now?
Yes, yeah, we're still in touch. And we actually met in London when I was, because I lived in London for almost 5 years, and I was in a dance studio, and that's where we met. And we actually connected when I was already back in Munich, in my hometown. And he was like, you know, I have a feeling, I have a sense that you might need me. And I was like, that is totally right. So yes, we are, you know, still in touch, but he's not my coach anymore. I've got like 2 others now, because I think you're obviously evolving, right? So maybe sometimes you need a different coach then to get you to that next level. But yeah, so he's very happy for me. Because
so then there's your supporter. There you go.
That's true. And I mean, that is actually a good point, because, you know, who are my supporters now? It's majorly indeed, you know, a handful of friends, and indeed my mentors, my coaches, and my business partners. These are definitely my biggest supporters.
Absolutely. Wow, fantastic. See, if we dug a little deeper, we would have got to it. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So Nina, so you said you teach yoga within the community. And I'm sure this is how they get to know, like, you do the coaching and things like that. So how do you feel that you are adding value to your community?
I feel like I'm really adding value to the community just by actually putting out there what I do. It might sound a bit, you know, sort of like simple right now. But I feel like I give, you know, in my yoga classes, for example, I give way more than a usual yoga teacher, because of that aspect that I have with, you know, the coaching and everything. I'm always giving sort of like some hints and some inspiration when it comes to mindset, when we are doing some exercises. You know, so what I actually do is people only notice, like, afterwards, you know, after class, they come to me and they're like, wow, I've never thought about this or that, you know, with regards to my yoga practice. So I feel like that is like a whole, you know, new level to yoga teaching. And hence, I feel like I'm giving a lot of value to my yoga students, you know, by enriching that with my coaching mindset work, right? But it also works exactly the other way around, right? So if I have a coaching client, I use the yoga and meditation aspect, the body aspect to it as well. And then, for example, when you really, you know, go even like more global, as I said in the introduction, I'm using essential oils as well a lot for physical, emotional, and mental benefits. And this obviously, you know, gives me access to people to all around the world. And the product, like the oils behind it, it's just they do so much as well for, you know, communities and like third world countries. You know, they are really, it's all about sustainability, it's all about healthy living. But how can we do that without like normal medicine? How can we do all of that with essential oils, right? Because that's where we are all coming from. But somehow, you know, some people still think that essential oils are hocus pocus. But, you know, exactly. And you are
anything that's not coming from a doctor, people think is hocus pocus. Exactly. And it's like, before doctors, that's what we had, the natural ways of healing.
Right, exactly. And now, you know, I can see a bit of a change actually, and a bit of, you know, rethinking when it comes to that, which is beautiful. But, you know, in a way, I feel like I'm contributing to the community by educating people on exactly that.
Awesome. And they need to be educated everyone this day and age. Absolutely. So
Totally.
So what tips or advice would you give someone who is sitting on the fence of the field of their dreams?
You know what? I've been obviously thinking back, to how I got started. And I think it's really like about really being brutally honest with ourselves. So if somebody's not happy, I think the first step is really to just be brutally honest and to say, something's not right here. I just don't really 100% my life, the setup. But then it's obviously the next step is then, but you need to, it would be good to find out what exactly is that, bit that is a bit off. And I believe that you really need to get someone external who is like able to reveal your blind spots. So instead of saying, oh, I do everything by myself and I've been there too, I had phases as well where I was like, no, I'm going to figure that all out by myself, until I came to the point where I noticed, no, that's not going to work. I need someone else to take my hand and guide me along. So I think it's really good not only to be honest, but also to like release that pride that we sometimes have, and to go, okay, yes, there's no harm in getting help from someone else.
Right.
And then obviously really take action, just by sitting around and like waiting, for whatever to happen, nothing's gonna change. So, the most important thing to change is to take action, because as we take action every single day, and like it can be super small stuff, right? That's when things just like, it's like a snowball effect. That's when the things start happening, because you start attracting different things.
Right. And you hit the nose on the head by saying starting things little by little, because what that does is create habits. And then with those habits, it creates more habits and more habits. And yeah, it's absolutely going to benefit you, because then it's that whole, the attractor factor. You're putting all the energy out there and it's coming to you. So yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
All right. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Of course I am.
Yes. All right. So through the lightning round, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you we're going to just go straight through them. You answer short and sweet. And if you need to take time, then take time too. I never stop people, but here we go. You ready? All right. What initially held you back from making your initial commit to change?
Scared of what other people think.
What is the best advice you have ever received?
You are already the person that you are, and you just need to go and grab it and live it full out.
Share a person.
Huh? Gives me goosebumps.
Do you remember who told you that?
Mm-hmm. It was a person when I was in Cambodia last year, and I was in a yoga center, and he was also a coach, a spiritual coach, and he told me.
Yeah. Oh, very nice.
I'll never forget that, and I will never forget him.
Awesome. Okay. So share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
Oh my God. Definitely every morning I journal, and I'm a big writer, so I journal a lot. Sometimes I even like 6 pages is crazy. I've got loads in my head, so I need to get it down on paper. I'm a big writer. I love it. Yeah. For me, that's like incredibly valuable. And the same applies to meditation every single morning.
Wow. Fantastic. So now, since you're a big writer, I'm assuming you are a big reader. What book would you recommend to the C2C audience, and why?
So I'm currently reading a book, and that's the one that I would like to recommend. It's called Conversations with God. And have you read it?
I haven't, but it sounds good.
Yes, it's from Neale Donald Walsch. Actually, I've got it right here. I'm reading it in German this time, but that's it. And it's just, why do I think it's so, wow, it's like the best book for me that I've read, when it comes to personal growth, because he just explains so well, with all these questions that we have about life and why things work and why they don't work. And I feel like he's explaining it in such a simple way. And I go, literally every page, I go like, aha moment, and that's, how it goes. And I need to go back in the pages and we live it and reread it. It's beautiful. I can totally recommend that book.
All right, we got it in there. Conversations with God. Very good. And last but not least, if you found out that you had only 1 hour left to live and you were given the opportunity to share one final message, what would it be?
Love more. I feel like we are always so holding back with like expressing our, love and gratitude, and like just tell loved ones. And I mean, I don't really know what that game is all about, but I think I don't like it. So just tell someone you like that person, love that person. It's all about love. Eventually it all comes back to love.
Yay, we'll love more. And we say, I always message this, yay, love more.
Love more.
I love it. So thank you so much, Nina. This concludes your questions, but actually it doesn't. I need to first please tell our audience where they can find more about you and what you're doing.
Of course. So I obviously have a website that is www.designyourlifeforresults, all in one word.com. And the same is for social media. So you find me under Design Your Life for Results as well on Instagram, on Facebook. You also, I have a YouTube channel as well, which is in English as well. So loads of ways to connect with me. Especially on social media, I love that. Quite active on there. So if you want to know what I'm doing, also, I'm sharing also like a bit of personal stuff, really, of course. Everything is like a mixture of the two. So if you want to get to know me better and know really what I'm up to, what I'm working on, then Facebook and Instagram are the things to check out.
Awesome. So we're going to also include those links in the description of the episode. So everyone can get in touch with you and see what Nina is doing and connect with you if they need your help. All right. Well, thank you for coming to the C2C podcast.
Thank
you. We are honored with your presence, and now we just say goodbye. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.